So we can all agree at this point that in order to get lean, you need to be in a calorie deficit. What we don't all agree on is how to create that calorie deficit and, most importantly, how to be consistent with it. And what I'm gonna do in this video is share how I see most people sabotage their calorie deficit, often without even realizing it, and staying stuck for months and years. And this is based on nearly 15 years of experience in the gym and having personally coached for about 10 years with over 1,000 clients. In other words, this isn't just some theory. This is what I found in practice hold people back from getting results and that you need to know. So the first issue I often see is people getting tricked by calories burned from apps and devices. There's a lot of marketing that goes into this, but wearables and apps don't accurately estimate your energy expenditure. I'm not talking about being 50 or 100 calories off. There's a very high degree of variability and inaccuracy, and it can be anywhere from 17 to 85% off when reporting how many calories you burned. That is a huge range. And when someone is thinking they're burning way more calories, they often use it to justify overeating, thinking they can just burn more calories and then earn that extra pizza or snack or those drinks over the weekends. Then you have a situation where someone is exercising more, objectively working harder, and thinking they're in a calorie deficit, all the apps telling them they are, but they're not seeing any progress. And this is what creates a lot of frustration, actually a lot more than if they haven't been doing much. At least then they would know what's wrong. So how do you know if you're really in a calorie deficit? Well, the bottom line is that if you're not losing weight over 2 to 3 weeks of average weigh-ins, you're not in a calorie deficit, despite what the apps say. And if this is your situation, you really need to tighten up your diet, start hitting the like button on all my videos, and stop eating back the calories that you burn because the numbers you're basing that on are not accurate. Now, the second issue I see is people forgetting about metabolic adaptation. If you have a decent amount of weight to lose, it's very likely that your initial calorie intake won't work all the way until you reach your goal. And to give you a rough estimate, for every pound or half a kilo you lose, your metabolic rate drops by about 15 calories per day. At the same time, your desire to eat can increase up to 100 calories per day. So if you lost 20 pounds, about 9 kilos, you're burning about 300 calories less per day. You might want to eat 500 calories more per day. And this can really vary between individuals. And this is one of the reasons why it's a lot easier to lose the first 10 pounds or 4.5 kilos than the last 10 pounds. When metabolic adaptation occurs, you'll notice how weight loss gradually gets slower and slower, and that is normal. For example, let's say Joe just lost 20 pounds, about 9 kilos, and he has another 20 to go. He looks at the last 2 weeks of fat loss data, and it's really slowed down. He's losing about half a pound or a quarter of a kilo a week. And Joe wants to lose a little bit faster, and he's right. There's definitely room for improvement. But to do that, the calorie intake he used to get rid of those initial 20 pounds needs to be adjusted. And in this case, I would actually recommend a combination of eating fewer calories, but also increasing his daily step count. The goal is to get back to losing a pound to pound and a half, so half a kilo to 3/4 of a kilo per week. Now, you could just adjust calories and reduce them by another 300 to 500 per day, but I would definitely recommend increasing walking as well. This way you don't have to drop your calories as much. And in practice with clients and myself, I find that being able to lose fat on higher calories leads to better muscle retention, strength gains in the gym, and better overall sustainability and consistency. Now, the third mistake people make with getting lean is relying way too much on discipline to keep them on track. People tend to overestimate the role of discipline for getting lean while underestimating the power of their environment and habits. Discipline is of course very important, but for example, if your household is loaded with easily accessible tasty treats that you like to snack on, you're not doing yourself any favors. That snack on the kitchen counter will be triggering you every time you see it, and when you eventually cave in and grab a couple of bites throughout the day, and before you know it, that 500 calorie deficit is gone. It's like if you're a recovering alcoholic trying to change your habits, it wouldn't be a smart idea to hang out at the bar where everybody's drinking. Ask yourself, do you really want to get lean? Because the moment you're buying and bringing junk food home, you're asking for trouble. Often the diet didn't fail when you ate more. It failed when you were at the supermarket or when you installed DoorDash. So how do you overcome this? Start by adding friction toward bad habits. Uninstall the apps, move the snacks, even a little bit of inconvenience accessing those snacks makes a big difference. That extra moment allows you to think twice about what you're about to do and redirect the habit before you mindlessly eat. And it also works the other way around. We want to reduce friction toward good habits. For example, years ago, I bought myself a walking pad. So now, no matter what the weather is like outside, I have a convenient way for getting my 8 to 10,000 steps. And it's simple. You want to combine good discipline with designing your environment to make it easier for you to reach your fitness goals, and you'll find yourself a lot more consistent. And look, it's also important to point out that getting lean is not a linear process. Most people panic when the scale doesn't go down after 3 to 4 days of eating right and training, but that's completely normal. With clients, sometimes I see 7 to 10 days, weight being about the same, and then they suddenly lose 2 pounds. A lot of it's caused by water retention due to different food choices. Sometimes it's stress, sometimes it's sleep, and you have to be patient with your body. You don't want to make emotional decisions based on a few days of data. If you accurately tracked your calories and you've been losing weight for a few weeks straight and suddenly things stop, it's very likely you're dealing with water retention. And in that case, you're technically still losing body fat and getting leaner, but the scale is lagging behind. So if you just keep at it and stay consistent, you'll likely experience that quote-unquote whoosh effect and the weight will drop. And this is another reason why I like to combine data from the scale with waist measurements and photos. Often when the scale doesn't go down, we still see a reduction in waist size and visual improvements in photos. This is important feedback so you know that things are working and that you're on track. But of course, if the weight isn't going down for 3 weeks and the other metrics don't show progress, you know that you're officially in a plateau and it's time for a change. The lack of patience and not being data-driven like this is what holds most people back on this journey. Don't be one of those people. Do this right. By the way, if you found the video helpful, make sure to hit that subscribe button for more. And if you're looking for coaching and accountability and you'd like to work with me, details for coaching are in the description below. So check those out, and I'm going to see you in my next video.